Wow, this is so exciting. I am really happy that this is the inaugural month for Write Your Plan Radio. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to provide something of value to each of you. So, welcome, one and all. This is really a celebration of you. This is about entrepreneurs, women in business, people who believe in their own power. They believe in the power within themselves to be and to do something great. And so you're striving and you have a spirit and a drive to do wonderful things in this life. And for those of you who aspire for more or for greater or for better, maybe it's that you want to make more money or you want to have more knowledge. This is where you can come to learn and grow and realize some things that perhaps you didn't know because you are in your world doing what you do every day. So, we're going to bring in experts that are going to talk about things that they know a little bit more about than perhaps we do so that we can get that knowledge. And as such, I have people that I'm going to be interviewing from a variety of businesses and industries and professions where we can learn from their expertise. We were going to hear from a different guest each week so that they can share their knowledge with us. And so the other thing that I like to do is to also hear a little bit about their stories because everyone has a story and a journey, and they have a way, a path that they use that has brought them to this space. And so if you are looking for inspiration and a place to learn, you're in the right place. And so I'm really excited to welcome our first guest today here. This is Miss Shari Leiterman. She is a wellness strategist and she is the owner of Rawsome Living. Welcome, Shari, to the show.
I am so excited. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And I love your emphasis and your vision and the way you're collaborating. So, from my heart, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And so, first of all, before we get into all of the information that Shari has to share with us, she's going to talk about water. And the topic is water. Just because it's clear does not mean it's clean. So this sounds like something that might scare us into action a little bit, Shari, but I'm excited about that. It's going to be okay. So tell us, first of all, where can people find you?
Okay, well, I really am anywhere and everywhere because in this day of technology, I am online. I reside in Riverview. I have actually three different sites that you can find me on. And do you want me to provide that now, or is that something?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's Rawsome Living. Well, actually, it's www.rawsomelivingllc at weebly.com.
Hmm.
That's my wellness site. And then for the water company, which we'll be speaking about, that is www.aquapure.biz.
Okay.
And then I have other links on my sites. So I think those two are fine.
Okay, perfect. And Rawsome Living, I love the name too. I love it when people have a very unique name that they use for their business. So let's just jump right into what you have to share with us today. Start with a little bit about your background, Shari. What is your background and your experience that has led you to being in this space?
I would say that the whole epiphany and the whole transition in my life was one of those magic moments of despair and sadness and wanting something more in my life. And I just asked and prayed for something different. And my life just opened up into a world of wellness and health and opportunity. And the more I learned, the more I knew I didn't know. So I just continued on that path. So I went back to school, got a degree in exercise physiology, started working in the health and food industry. And I changed my life. I went from a standard American diet eater to trying all different diets and lifestyles. And for the last 30 years, I will claim that I am a plant-based, whole foods eater, vegan, raw foodie. And it just works for me. And inclusive of that, journey, I learned about food, I learned about water, I learned about exercise. My whole life changed. And so I think that you would agree that once you're inspired and empowered, you continue on that path because it's working. And then so many other avenues open up. And so I wasn't really a sick person, but I wasn't really what I would call having optimum health. I was just average. And I didn't know that I could have a higher level of vibrancy, vitality, and understanding because it wasn't in my realm, as you mentioned in your opening. And
Mhm.
so it's beautiful. It's like the lotus flower, sitting in the muck of water, and it grows this beautiful, beautiful presence. And so that's how my life changed. I have my ups and my downs. My focus on health and wellness is non-negotiable, and so is water.
Awesome. Awesome. And you mentioned the standard American diet, which is the abbreviation for that is SAD. So
Yes.
talk a little bit about the standard American diet, and what most people are eating, maybe even unconsciously.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely very a good point to bring up. The unconscious part, I think, happens because of our fast-paced lifestyle, technology, and the plethora and the misuse of advertising. So what we might think is real food or natural food or sugar-free or fat-free, they're just chemicals and they're disguised. And we as Americans are we're in the running for the worst health in the world. With all the advances that we have. So it's a matter of slowing down and being more conscious about what we put in our minds and our hearts and our mouth. And the big piece that I see now is trending is, going plant-based, or there's more vegan options or more vegetarian options. But deeper than that, and having conversations with people, is that they're inspired. Like they don't want to rely on the doctor. They don't want to be on medications anymore. They don't want to be sick and tired. And so there's documentaries, there's scientific proof out there. So people are saying, okay, I want something different. And there's plenty to choose from.
Right, right, exactly. I think that a lot of times we just kind of grab whatever is convenient without giving it much thought. And maybe it's something that you grew up eating, and that's holiday season. A lot of times people just kind of eat what they've normally would grab for. In fact, we would do a vegan diet during the season of Lent. We would do that,
Oh,
traditionally
yes.
every year. And one year we actually took it and expanded on it and continued for a full year. Now, I have to be honest and admit that for whatever reason, I did slip back
Mhm.
away from the veganism, but I found that it wasn't as difficult as people might imagine.
I
Would
would
you agree?
Yeah, I would agree, and I would commend you because there are those times, when we fast or whatever it is for purposeful and religious reasons or what have you, or you're sick, if you look at animals when they get sick, they rest and they sleep and drink water. We have so many things we can learn from nature. Um, but it's very typical too to change your lifestyle habits and then fall back. I mean, that's human nature. So this journey, when we embark on being healthier and unstoppable, and just changing the way that we have habitually been living our lives and eating, it takes a 7-year period. I mean, and people might say, "Oh my gosh, that's just so much to commit to." But no, you took a, a piece of that, right? And then you
Yes.
expanded it and you found success and you enjoyed it and you learned new ways to cook and you look to rearrange your time and what you shop for. And it's a new adventure and it can be really fun because the benefits outweigh whatever it is we were doing before. I really, whatever anybody says, there are so many more pluses to not being on medication and not having to worry about cholesterol, not having to worry about blood sugar levels, and not having to worry about arthritis, which are lifestyle diseases. So if we can eliminate that, oh my gosh, imagine how happier people would be, and they'd be smiling, and the first thing when you see somebody or talk to them is like, oh my gosh, I feel so great, or I'm having an awesome day, instead
Yes.
of oh, I got a backache, or oh, I am so tired, or I hate the traffic. I don't know. It's like there's a mindset shift that happens, and they always say that shift happens instead of the other.
Right.
And in terms of grabbing whatever it is, since I've been teaching and coaching whole foods for this long, for me, the easiest thing to grab and go is, and people laugh, is a head of lettuce or some celery or cucumbers, and maybe you get some hummus. Now you have all kinds of vegan bars and kale chips. So there's plenty to choose from. It's just like taking the time and planning a day to go to a store. And Sprouts is a great option. Detweiler's is a great option online. As you know, we have access to that and we can help people with that. So it's just meeting with someone and getting guidance, and then just stacking the pluses, right? Because there's always going to be something that happens, and that's okay, because that's how we learn, right? You fall down, you get
Absolutely.
up, you fall down. It's an amazing process how the body can heal itself. It's phenomenal. I'm blown away. So
Right. By what our bodies can do just by what we put into our bodies. And I got to tell you, I know the listening audience cannot see this awesome picture of you, but when they go to your website, they will see you on a bicycle with the basket on the front. It's so cute, the old style basket on the front, and it's full of all these fruits and vegetables, and then you're rocking high heels. I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. So, and the other thing, I'll just throw this out, one more thing that I learned as well, in addition to what you said, is when I was a practicing vegan, I would, before I went to an event where I wasn't sure what the fare was going to be, I would eat at home before I got there so that I wouldn't get there and be hungry and then left with options of things that I did not want to eat. And so, like you say, you just travel with the foods that make sense for your body. And
absolutely.
that makes a big difference. I'm re-inspired.
Yay!
I'm
I
on
mean,
a health journey, and it makes a big difference. It does.
and little tips and tricks, really, I mean, when people go drinking, they say between each glass of wine, have a glass of water. So keep a cooler, in your car with little treats that aren't going to melt, and yeah, eating before or drinking water with some electrolytes in there, or lemon or essential, whatever you want to put in there, so that your stomach's kind of full. And would you agree that the more that you practice this and you have more greens, right, you're
Yes.
nourishing yourself, you're nourishing your cells. And so the cravings for sugar tend to decrease. And then it becomes a battle of the mind, like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. I haven't had a blah, blah, blah in so long. And I hear this over and over. You taste it and you're like, why did I eat that? They spit it out, or
Yes.
there's a stomach ache, or there's indigestion, and it's like, okay, your body says, really? I don't want this, but you
It's
think you
true.
want this. It's
It is
just
absolutely true. Yes, I've experienced it. It is absolutely true. Where all those sweets and treats no longer are as appealing. But you mentioned water. So I think that that
sure.
is a great opportunity for us to talk about this idea of water not being as clean as we think it is, Shari. That's a little scary. So tell me about the water that's coming out of my tap. I just want to grab a glass of water so I can, swallow my vitamin.
Yes.
What's going on
Well,
there?
true, true, true. So, I moved from Utah to Florida, and when I went to speak to my boss, and he was so fascinating and so honest. His doctor told him when he had a kidney transplant to not drink the water. So when he told me that story when I moved here, I'm like, okay, that's all you had to say. I did watch a documentary about fluoride in the water. So there's always controversy, right? So I'm going to stand on the side of, if it's a chemical, if it was manufactured, or if it was man-made, I don't want to drink it 100% of the time or bathe in it. So, and that's how I look at food too. So what is in the water is essential. And so just because it's clear doesn't mean it's clean. I stole that from a friend of mine because I thought it was brilliant. And it's so true, because if you don't smell contaminants and you don't taste them, then you believe that the process that's being done to treat our water is being done. you can get a quality water report. The annual report for any county will tell you the standardized, authorized chemicals and pollutants in the water. Now it's up to you to say, that's too high for me and my family or my house.